Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Maharaj.
Manava, Chuma Devi. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam Maharaj.
No. It's a different time for you?
Sorry, Maharaj.
Is it a different time?
Yes, Maharaj. Now 5 p.m. UK time. Yeah, 1 hour different. Yes.
Dandavat Pranam Devi.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Dandavat.
I don't think everyone got the message that we changed our time.
Yes, timing change. How are you, Maharaj?
By your grace, I'm okay. You look well and happy.
Yes, today off, Maharaj. Today I'm at home.
Okay.
In Nepal, devotees arrived in Nishangapalli with Srila Shanta Maharaj now.
Yes, Prabhuji, I saw some video.
What's happening there in UK? Anything exciting?
Same thing, Maharaj. I don't know anything. I'm going very soon to India, Maharaj. Maybe another 2 months.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to for good.
Where?
For good.
For good.
Yes.
Where will you stay?
South India in Mysore, but I don't know, Maharaj. By your mercy, Krishna mercy, I don't know what I want to do. What service I can do, Maharaj, when I go there?
Go to Nishangapalli.
Okay, Maharaj, I will try to go there also, yes.
Help Shanta Maharaj with his program.
Okay, Maharaj.
He is trying to do so many services and nobody's coming to help him. Well, none of the Western people.
Yes, Maharaj, I will try to help, Maharaj. I will go to Singapore.
Are you a good cook?
No, Maharaj, I forget cooking because I am alone. Let's stay alone here.
Okay, I don't know if anyone else will come now. They may come later. So we'll chant Vandana. Vandeham
Neham
Guru
Guru
Yutapad
Vandeham Sri Guru
Sri Guru
Bharatamalam
Vaishnava
Guru Vaishnavam
Sri Rupam
Rupam
Bhagavatam
Sagrajatam
Sagana
Sagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam
Sajivam
Sadvaitam Sadutam
Savadutam
Nityana
Saitam
Krishna
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 Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Dev
Devam
Sri
Sri
Radha
Radha Krishna
Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita
Shivishkamritam
Om Agena
Ajnanatimirandasya
Jalakaya
Jnananjalakaya
Chakshurun Viditam
Anvitamena
Tasma
Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha
Putra Shri
Shri
Guru
Guru
Bhagavad Gita
Bhagavad
Mahabhava
Bhagavanitaya Sada
Purva Parya Parampara Pachalita Pragya
Parampara Prachita
Bhakti Jarhasya Tam
Kalanitarasya
Sakshakam
Sarvam
Sandaram
Sataram
Vande Shri Guru
Sri
Dev
Gurudevam
Ananta Shri Radha
Acharya Guru Vishta
Sapuraka Guru Brahma
Guru Shista Sambhushitam
Chinta
Chinta
Samastade
Chintamasta Nipunam Sri
Nirupa
Rupa Santanugam
Govinda Vidhamuto
Vajjalamuram
Bharatanam Bhakti Amitam Sundaram
Sandam Sundaram
Bhakti Vishwagurun Shastidya Bhagavat Premno Vicharapada Devam Divyatakam Sushanta Palakachalam Shitam Prananda
Satnanda
Pranasi
Param Sadeka
Paragya Vidyam
Vidya Buddhim
Vandanidim Subhakti Rasitam Saraswatanam Varam Vande Tam
Sabadam Madheka Sharanam
Sri Siddhanta Saraswati
Saraswati Vidyo
Bhagavan Vai
Priya Ganurita
Madhu
Prabhu
Banariva Bhavatagane Yogurha Sankirtanai Maya Bharati Mangalo
Mangalodharam
Vidya Jivanimam Krishna Prema Sudhati
Prema Sambuddhi Gahana Sukam Padat Prabhum Tam Bhaje
Oh Lord Kishore
Gaura Kisaraya Bhakti Vidota Murtaye Gaurari Padma Bringaya Radha Bhava Nishevani
Vande Bhakti Vinodam
Vinodam Sri Sri Gaura Shakti Sarupakam Bhakti Shastrajna Samrajam Radha Rasa Sudanidim
Gauravajashi
Jagdishir Vaishnaver Vande Vigraham Jagannatha Prabhum Vande Premadhim Ruddha Vaishnavam
Vanchakalpa
Kalpatarvascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha
Vanchatatva
Tattva Krishnam
Bhaktarupas
Bhaktarupasaropakam
Devatara
Bhaktaram Namami Bhakti Shaktikam
Namo Mahavadana
Mahavadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate
Krishna Chi
Naya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha
Tam Sarato Pangur
Mama Mandam
Etam surato pangar mama mandavati iti sarvasva padamboj radha madana mohanam vrindavanaya kalpadrumadaya Srimate Simhasanastuto Sri Gandharva Srila Govinda Dev Testari Swaminam Smarami Gopi Gopinata Sri Astunaha Aye Tulsi Devaye Priyaye Kesavaschita Krishna Praday Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Mantra Gurun Gurun Bhagavatartadan Vyasan Jagat Gurun Nato Tato Jayamudhirate Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Pada Padmanam Jayatsu
Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrindam
Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram
Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, the Bhakti Yoga Maharaja, Ki Jai.
Jai
I, Giri Govardhan, Ki Jai.
Jai
Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai.
Jai
All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the worldwide devotees. Gaur Premanandi Hari.
Hare Hare Bol
Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai
Prapanna-jivanamrtam. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya. Astotara Sata Sri Sripad Bhakti Yoga Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Sri Sri Prapanna-jivanamrtam Ki Jai.
Jai.
We're in chapter 8, text 11, page 128. Ananya Sharaneshu Mrigeshu Api Bhagavat Kripa Inchitra Achuta Tataivad Ashresha Bandho Tashreshu Anya Ananya Sharaneshu Yaratma Saktam your Ratrayat Saha Rigai Prime Iswaranam Srimat Yerita Tata Pidita Padapita from Udava, Srimad Udavasya. The Lord is merciful upon even the animals who have exclusively surrendered unto him. O Lord Krishna, friend of all, in your form of Ram, even when the tips of the magnificent crowns of the great gods headed by Lord Brahma were subjugated before your lotus feet, you simply showed your affection for the monkeys. Thus it is no wonder that you are seen to be subordinate to your exclusive servitors, such as Nanda Maharaj, the Gopis, Bali, and others. The Lord is so merciful, even the animals can receive his grace. I remember hearing a story once in Vrindavan, there's this cow that comes to the temple daily, Mangalarti. And he seems to offer his obeisances when he comes into the temple. very interesting cow. Well, it's quite possible animals, they have a special mercy of Krishna also. And we know that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sripad Saint had a dog. And the dog used to take the remnants of the prasad from the Vaishnavas. And one day when they were traveling, that dog just disappeared. And they all felt that dog had been withdrawn to the spiritual world, the shelter of Maharaja. Wasn't that the story?
I heard it slightly different.
What?
The devotees were going across the Ganga to visit Mahaprabhu, and Shivananda Sain was looking for the dog to get on the boat with him to go. The devotees told him to leave the dog, but he didn't want to. But it turns out that the dog somehow left ahead of them, got to Mahaprabhu first, received his mercy, and by the time they got there, I think the dog had died. He got liberated.
Okay.
Something like that.
Bhakti Vinod used to pray, I would hope that I could take birth as a fly in my next life, and a fly on the wall of a Vaishnava house. Of course, I remember Sridhara used to say, you don't want to be so close to the guru like a bug on his head. That's not the type of closeness that is wanted. We have to understand also what the spiritual master is saying. Accept that in our heart. Sri Guru Parama, Sri Guru, Sri Gurun Padma Vakya. What is that verse?
Shiktaiti Korea Akya.
Sri Gurun Padma Vakya. Gurun Mukha Padma Vakya. Gurun Mukha Para Vakyam. The lotus lips of the spiritual master, the words from the lotus lips of the spiritual master, and Chitete Korea, that we make one with our heart, with our mind. That's okay. That's the idea. I remember Acharya Maharaj used to say, you're coming here and you're cheating me. You're singing Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koryaya, and you're doing whatever you want. You're not listening to me. You're not following my instructions. And what kind of song you're singing? Hypocrites. So the idea of closeness to Guru means to follow closely what he is saying. When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to give lectures, very sophisticated, high-level lectures. And devotees sometimes could not understand what he was saying. He was so exalted. So they would come to Sridhar Maharaj and they ask him, please explain, what did Saraswati Thakur tell today? Because Sridhar Maharaj was very keen to hear what Saraswati was saying, and he would explain to them the subtle points. Like that. Chitete Koriai. Plato also, he said the human being is like the Supreme, like the Divine, and participating in the divinity. And like this likeness, one has to hear what the divine is saying, what the divine is manifesting. He has to be attentive to that, what he's revealing. And then by allowing himself to become one with that, to accept that, to be directed by that revelation, is called surrender. And then he becomes like the Supreme. He doesn't become the Supreme, but it becomes spiritualized like the Supreme. Supreme Lord is spiritual in nature. And the living entity, he's partly covered by attachment and identification with material energy. So by hearing the word and the revelation from the Lord and his devotees from that high level, then his consciousness can become like that. Chitete Koriya Aikya. Aikya means Aikya, Eka, like one with. Not that he merges, but he becomes like that. Like that means spiritually, or spiritually existing in the spiritual, as a spiritual soul, as a spiritual entity, as a eternal servant of Krishna. That type of closeness. That is necessary. Text number
12.
12. Bhagavad Ibopalabda Mahatmasya Tat Kainkarya Vartanapi Audatyavad Eva Pratiyate Tigash Asuchim Avinitam Nidayamam Alajam Arma Purushayoham Yogi Varya Prakanyahai Vidi Shiva Sankayadir Sankadhyayar Yatam Atyantadoram Tava Parijana Tavam Kamaye Kamavrita of Immunacharya. He would have prayed for the Lord's servitorship. It felt as an impertinence when the glory of the Lord is realized by his person. Spy on me, an impure, impertinent, hard-hearted, and shameless fellow. O Supreme Personality, simply governed by my whims, do I dare to aspire for your servitorship, a position practically inconceivable to great, powerful personalities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the 4 Kumars. Sometimes we hear in the news that some person, some crazy person, does something, and he says he was following the will of God, the order of God. There's all kinds of nonsense. So it's not very easy to understand the will of God. So our process is not to try to follow the will of God, but to follow the will of his devotee, Gurudev. You know? And not even that, to follow the order instruction of Gurudev's servant, and the servant of Gurudev's servant. Dasu dasana das, as Maharaja told. Become an insignificant servant, thinking, I am unfit. It is too much for me to think that I could be a servant of Krishna. Even to be a service of Guru is too much. I'm more unfit for that also. But if somehow I can find some little service of the servant, who is pleasing Gurudev, who is pleasing Krishna, then I can be happy with that. How can the finite serve the infinite? Only if the infinite comes to us in a finite form, then we can have a chance for the finite to come in touch with the finite, infinite in the finite form of the finite. So the infinite form of an infinite in the form of a finite is called Gurudev. Thereby, in that process, we might be able to think of having some service, some insignificant service. Devotee doesn't want to be a big servant. He's willing to accept any crumb of service, even the smallest bit, as long as he has some service, some connection, then a devotee's heart can be satisfied. Otherwise, a genuine devotee feels like there's nothing without the mercy of the Lord, without the mercy of Guru. There's no reason to be living. Dust in the wind, and there's dust in the wind without the guidance and the shelter of Gurudev, of some service connection. And the meaning of devotee, he has to devote his life to something divine. But does not have that connection, what type of person? He cannot be called devotee. They are not devoting to anyone but some mundane self-interest or extended self-interest. Therefore, that service connection with the higher plane, that is the essential key element of someone was known as a devotee, but to speak of a Vaishnava. Even the most insignificant connection in that way, the most insignificant, smallest service, devotee is always praying for that. Dear Lord, please don't leave me to flounder in this material world, this ocean of material existence, without giving me some touch of your service. And my heart will be satisfied, however many millions of years it may take me to be absorbed by you, to be taken up into your world. If that is your desire, that will make you happy. I am ready for that. But I don't want to live any moments of this in this world without that type of connection. Without that type, little connection, at least. And prayer of a devotee. And the prayer of Maharaja. Text number 13. Beloved Sadhu-Sanga Sahasrasyapi Tat Charana Paricharya Lobo Yavaya Yamanaha. To Amayada Trudras Kalamater Asuya Prasavabuhu Kritagno Dormani Smara Parvaso Vachana Para Nishangsa Papishta Katam Aham Ito Dukajaladir Aparad Utirnastava Parichayam Charanayo. Again from Immortality. Despite thousands of personal defects, a devotee can never check his desire for the Lord's service. Uncultured, mean, fickle-minded, envious, ungrateful, proud, subservient to lust, deceitful, hard-hearted, and sinfully mild, O Lord, how will I ever be able to cross this insurmountable ocean of misery and attain the service of your lotus feet? So even knowing one's own defect and knowing that one is defective, anyone and everyone in this material world must have some defect. Otherwise, why would they be here? There's some resilience, some resistance to serving Krishna. Otherwise, there's no need for the living entity to come to this material world. Only because there's some resistance, some evil intention to not serve Krishna, to become self-serving, that we have come here, and all these things that come along with that self-serving attitude, uncultured, cruel, fickle, envious, so forth. Okay, so living empty finds himself in such a terrible condition. And yet, the devotee is seeking the service of the Lord. How to do. I am so mean, and yet I'm aspiring for something so high. What right do I have to do that? So devotee prays, I'm not coming to you, your Department of Justice. I'm not coming to that. I'm coming to the Department of Mercy. I need your mercy, your forgiveness, because there's no way that I deserve connection with your lotus feet unless it comes from above. My own efforts are not qualified and will never be qualified to come in contact with you. Therefore, I'm depending upon you, my dear Lord, to see what you can do. You are the Supreme. You are God. Oh, certainly you can purify such a sinful heart, such a sinful person as myself. This is our position in the material world. Maya Jakshena Prakriti. Sriyate Sacharachana. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us Maya is my energy. The illusory energy is my energy. And living entities are being driven around by this energy. But he's the only one who controls that energy. And he can lift the veil of Maya or impose that veil upon us by his will for his own purposes. All we can do is pray that he does not forget us, not neglect us. Gives us one drop of his mercy, so that we may have some hope. Of getting through this miserable condition of hope beyond hope, Maharaja would say. Next, number 14. Prapanna-jivanamrtam prapati samanya kripayam api nija yogyata pratiti nanu prayatna sakrid eva nata tvaham asmiti cha yachamanaha avanukampya smarata pratigyam mare kavarjam kim idam ratante Immortality. Although the Lord is naturally gracious upon the surrendered soul, the surrendered soul considers himself unfit to receive that grace. O Lord, one who keeps your pledge in mind and wholly surrenders unto you, declaring I am yours alone, is a fit recipient for your grace. It is only I who am not included in your promise. Is it only I who am not included in your promise? It means that a devotee is already blessed by the mercy of Krishna. One who is a devotee, who has aspiration to be a devotee, already has the mercy of Krishna. Yet a devotee is so humble that he feels he doesn't have it. No one can feel he doesn't have the mercy of Krishna unless he has the mercy of Krishna. That's a great symptom of the heart. And that draws Krishna to the devotee more intensely than the idea that, oh, I am a servant of God. Proudly thinking in that way, that will displease the Lord. And that will not promote humble service and surrendered and submissive attitude that is requisite for genuine devotion, genuine love between the Lord and his devotee. Sridhara used to say that the more one feels that he doesn't have the infinite, the more he has it. Who actually understands the infinite, he feels, oh, I have no hint, no possibility of coming in touch with such a huge thing, an infinite thing. How can I, a worm in stool, as Krishnadas Kaviraj used to say, come in touch with the infinite? The more the conception of the infinite grows in the heart of a devotee, the more he or she feels incapable of having anything to do with that. So if we think ourselves very great, saintly or whatever, that we have so advanced that we can have a relationship with Krishna, that we don't have a very broad conception of Krishna to fit in our finite conception. We think our finite conception is sufficient to encompass the Lord, and we don't have a real conception of the infinite. The infinite cannot fit in a finite consciousness of a living entity. Only the finite consciousness can surrender to the infinite and thereby become harmonious, to have a harmonious position. A dynamic relationship of the part and whole. Hare Krishna. Okay. I think we'll end here. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Santa Maharaj, the Guru Varga Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai
Jai.
Giri Govardhan ki jai.
Jai.
Jai
Jai.
Samad ki jai.
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 Jai all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the worldwide devotees. Or Premanandi, Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Dhanavad Soma Devi Didi.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam Maharaj.
Please be safe, be well, be happy. My
Thanks,
love to
Maharaj.
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.